Alright, so what I've done here, I've gone ahead a little bit. I've pressed the shoulder seams open. I've sewn the side seams on the jacket and pressed those open as well. So I've sewn both side seams. As you can see, I now have a complete armhole there. And to continue to make things a bit quicker as well, I've sewn up the underarm seams on both of the sleeves, and I've pressed those open as well. So we're going to sew the sleeve in now, and of course I use my little trick of putting my finger behind the foot, and then just bunching up the seam allowance a little bit to help control that ease. If you're going to stop and take your finger away, do it at the shoulder seam, and we're doing it from the front and the back notches. Okay, so I've gathered that up, the ease there. Now we have to work out which sleeve is which. So this has a single notch on the front there, so that notch will match up with the notch here. So we know that's the front. So just pull that around. And like I've said before, even though I don't usually use a lot of pins, I find that with the sleeve, because you're working with very different curves, it is generally a pretty good idea just to pin the 4 main points. So pin the underarm, pin the front and the back balance notches, and then pin the shoulder notch in place. Let's have a look just before we start sewing. Actually, because that's gathered up quite a nice amount there, what I'm going to do on this time, I'm going to try it sewing with the sleeve on top and see how we go. Might end up as a complete mess, but we'll find out. So again, I don't try and I try not to sew over the pins. A lot of people do, but it just always freaks me out, and I think that I'm going to break the needle. I never have, but every time I think about it. So I pull them out and don't sew over them. The thing about sewing on this side too is that you can actually sew just outside the that gathering line that you put in, which means that none of it will be visible from the outside of the garment. Okay, so that was the front, which worked quite well. Now we'll see if the back is going to be as good. Okay, so that worked quite well for me, and yeah, I'm just suggesting that you give it a go if you want to see how it goes. Otherwise, if you find that it is actually stretching too much, go back to, you might have to do that row of stitching again with your finger behind, and go back to sewing it with the body of the garment on top if you find that you get a better finish with that. But this for me has actually worked quite well, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to sew in the other sleeve now, and then we'll get onto the lining.